Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm Ethan Blackthorne, and today we go to Hedong Village, Yizheng, Jiangsu Province, China. A case that forced police to screen tens of thousands of people, repeatedly revised their offender profile based on evidence and witness statements, and still got the killer's occupation wrong several times before a breakthrough finally ended years of pursuit. Time rewinds to the morning of February 25th, 2000. Snow was falling heavily. At 6 o'clock a.m., after preparing breakfast, Mrs. Cao Jiangsu called her daughter-in-law Zhu Hong to come eat. She called several times. No answer. Normally, Zhu Hong was a light sleeper and got up early for breakfast before work. After calling a few more times with no response, Mrs. Cao pushed open the bedroom door. This was the newest room in the house, freshly plastered as the bridal room about 6 months earlier. Inside it was dark. Zhu Hong was in bed under the quilt. As Mrs. Cao stepped closer, she suddenly froze. An orange face towel had been twisted and stuffed into Zhu Hong's mouth. The quilt still covered her. Her eyes were open, staring. She was dead on the bed. Police from Yizheng arrived within minutes. The room was new but simple. A bed, a small bedside shelf, a wardrobe, and a shoe rack. The orange towel had been removed from the victim's mouth and placed beside the body. When officers lifted the quilt, they found the victim nude. There were bruises on the neck and bleeding at the chin, with clear scratch marks. The bruising formed half-moon arcs angling toward the ear, typical of manual strangulation. Mud was smeared on the floor and the quilt. Her nightclothes and underwear lay on the bedding. From the scene, it appeared she had been sexually assaulted. Investigators preliminarily classified it as rape and homicide. To understand how the killer got in, note the house layout. This was the home of Mrs. Cao Jiangsu, the victim's mother-in-law. It was an older 5-bay tile roof house arranged east to west in a straight line. The easternmost bedroom belonged to Mrs. Cao and her husband. The next room to the west was for the son and his wife, Kai Zicheng and Zhu Hong. Because the son was working away from home, the young wife lived there alone. To avoid gossip, or for other sensitive reasons, Mrs. Cao had a strict nightly routine. She locked Zhu Hong in from the outside. The only key hung on a cord around her neck. Every morning she'd unlock the door so her daughter-in-law could wash, eat, and go to work. At night, Zhu Hong could not leave the room. Mrs. Cao recalled that past midnight, sometime between 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock a.m., the goose in the yard kept honking. People who raise geese know they are excellent yard guards, often even more alert than dogs. They're easy to keep and unlikely to inflict serious injuries on strangers, so many rural families prefer them. Hearing the goose call out persistently, she nudged her husband to check. He dismissed it and went back to sleep. She didn't get up either. At dawn, she opened the door and found her daughter-in-law murdered. Reconstructing the entry, police traced the intruder's path from the westernmost bay, farthest from the couple's bedroom, and into a detached storeroom accessed by a single door whose wood frame bore wide pry marks. From this storeroom, there was no interior doorway to the next room. Instead, the intruder chiseled a hole through the old, loose brick wall and squeezed into the second bay from the west, the family kitchen. From the kitchen, he forced open a rotted wooden door into the living room, then broke into Zhu Hong's bedroom and assaulted her. Why not enter from the eastern side, just one room away from his target, rather than choose a long, awkward route involving a brick wall? The simplest explanation. He already knew the floor plan, which rooms were occupied, which were empty, and knew Zhu Hong was alone. It strongly suggested someone familiar with the household. Evidence collected included a left palm friction ridge impression with a whorl pattern, not a fingertip, semen from the assailant, and faint shoe prints on the floor and quilt. From these, Police estimated the suspect was male, about 25 to 45 years old, 1.70 or some tall, wearing size 41 shoes. Because of the entry route and what it implied, the initial investigation focused on family ties, social disputes, and any extramarital entanglements, but those lines quickly faded. Ju Hong, just 18 years old, had only lived here 6 months after an arranged marriage. She was 3 months pregnant, worked diligently at a plush toy factory about 1 kilometer away, and was known as kind, modest, and conflict-averse. Her husband Kei Zicheng was away on a construction job in Yangzhou. His parents were honest, hard-working farmers. With no credible personal vendetta or romantic motive, detectives turned back to the scene itself. A neighbor reported that the same night their home had been burgled. Nothing valuable was taken, but smoked pork and sausages were stolen from the kitchen, and a kitchen knife was missing. The rear door at the victim's house, where the intruder first entered, showed broad pry damage with oily residue, consistent with a kitchen knife used as a lever. Taken together, police reframed the event. Burglary first, then rape and murder when the intruder found a young woman sleeping alone. The choice to steal food pointed to someone impoverished and opportunistic, likely with a history of petty theft. The city mobilized over 200 officers, using Hedong village as the center and expanding through 4 neighboring villages, 5 villages in total, 15,000 residents. They filtered down to $5,000 men aged 25 to 45. Officers conducted face-to-face checks. Where were you that night? Any alibi? For each contact, they collected left palm prints for manual comparison, much slower than fingertip databases. Clear dissimilarities could be rejected in 5 minutes. Similar patterns could take half a day and still require instrument analysis. One prime suspect quickly emerged. Xiao Dianzi, 33, married but chronically unemployed, loitering with shady acquaintances, gambling. When broke, he stole. If a husband was away and a woman was home alone, he liked to knock and harass. He matched the profile, petty thief, a nuisance to women, and vanished from the village within a day or 2 of the murder. A task team chased him from Nanjing to Wuxi. Then a tip placed him near the West bus station in Yangzhou. After nearly a month, they arrested him at a rental. He insisted he'd slept at home that night. He admitted to teasing women and petty theft, but denied rape or murder. His left palm print did not match the crime scene print. Why flee? He said his bad reputation guaranteed police scrutiny. He feared beatings and forced confessions, so he ran on the best of the 36 stratagems: flee. More than 30 key suspects were similarly screened and ruled out. The case stalled. Kei Zicheng, shattered that his gentle, pregnant wife had been murdered, visited police repeatedly with his mother, desperate for progress. With no result in the victim's immediate circle, detectives pivoted. Perhaps the offender wasn't local at all, but a migrant worker who had learned the area while employed nearby. They turned to scrap pickers. Hundreds moved through Qinlan, an electronics industry hub adjacent to Yizheng. Many were homeless, stealing occasionally between scavenging runs. Soon, Mr. Liu reported a suspicious friend. A young scrap picker surnamed Wang, nicknamed Xiao Haizi, about 25 to 26, under 1.7 mm, with a large mole on his cheek. He had returned at 4:00 a.m. on February 25th, scratched across the face, claiming he'd fallen into bushes. Then he hurriedly packed and left for home. No one knew his full name. Someone thought he was from Dalu Village, Lingbi County. Police traced him to Wang Hai, who had a prior theft record. But again, left palm and DNA did not match. By June 2000, police had screened 20,000 plus people and collected 12,000 left palm prints, with over 400 cases still uncontactable due to migration and lack of mobile phones. They kept faith. With semen DNA and a palm print, they would eventually catch him. By August 2004, Yizheng police had their own DNA lab. Entering the 2000 case, DNA into the system produced a hit: a July 22, 2000 rape in the Handan district, Anhui province, matched the Zhu Hong case. The victim, Jiajia, 14, was raped at home while her parents worked a night shift. The perpetrator rummaged the kitchen and ate plain congee afterward, like the smoked meats stolen near Zhu Hong's murder. He carried a box cutter commonly used by construction workers, carpenters. Despite exhaustive efforts, Handan police had only semen DNA from that scene. Now, with the match, Yizheng and Handan combined forces, focusing on people with ties to both areas, and especially construction and carpentry, with prior records. A woman then offered a crucial lead. 4 years earlier, near the victim's home in Hedong village, a migrant builder couple had rented a room from Mr. Li at the village entrance. The man was called Xiao Wu. Both spouse builders vanished right after the murder. Mr. Li couldn't remember names, but he had a quirky habit. He scribbled tenants' phone numbers on the back of old calendar pages. Miraculously, the 5-year-old calendar still hung on the wall. One number led to a woman named Liu He, originally from Huai'an County, Jiangsu, born 1965. Police found Liu He working at a garment factory in Yangzhou. She said Xiao Wu was not her husband. They had lived together after she divorced and left a sewing job for better pay on a construction site. They lived together about 6 months before February 2000, when Xiao Wu disappeared like he evaporated right after news of the Hedong homicide. She remembered his surname Zhu and a home visit to Didu Town, Xinhua, Jiangsu, by a bridge, family of 5 siblings, boatmen, and that he was the second son. Local police finally located a matching family, Zhu Long, the second son, at a house by the East Bridge with a family boat. The parents, who had long reported him missing after a bitter marriage and divorce, greeted police with relief, hoping for news. After 2 months of checks across lodging registries, police found Zhu Long registered in Haining 2 weeks earlier. When detained, he denied all knowledge of Zhu Hong or the murder. Palm print and DNA, no match. Another hard reset. By 2004, an intensive 3-month sweep eliminated multiple lookalikes. Detectives consoled themselves with one certainty: the DNA would not lie. Their greatest fear, however, was that he would strike again. He did. On August 31, 2007, the Yangzhou Economic Development Zone took a report from Shaoni, 25. After a family quarrel, she slept alone at a relative's house. Past midnight, a man had already climbed in, grabbed her when she awoke, and nearly strangled her when she resisted. He spoke briefly, threatened her into silence, wore gloves, and left. Police found muddy climb marks on a water pipe and gloved handprints along a tiled ledge. Semen DNA from this scene matched the 2000 Yizheng and 2000 Handan district cases. The pattern suggested his primary motive was sexual assault, with theft secondary. Then, on August 19, 2012, he struck again. Xiao Bao, 17, a migrant worker, slept alone in a rented room. She awoke to a man sitting on her bed, who pressed scissors to her throat. He was about 170 Mars, muscular, pock-scarred, bare-chested with a white towel wrapped around him, and wore gloves. After the assault, he turned on the light, rummaged for money and food, then ran out barefoot, only to return within a minute to grab the forgotten scissors and his shoes, leaving behind the cheap, hole-riddled towel, again signaling extreme poverty. Xiao Bao recognized the scissors as the kind used in shoe or garment factories. With 4 linked attacks and a decent description at last, Police canvassed nearby shoe garment plants and places using such scissors. Fearing another dead end, the task force brought in Ms. Junji, a renowned forensic artist from the Changzhou Municipal Police. Over 5 hours, guided by Xiaobao's corrections, she produced a composite the victim rated 810 similar. Thousands of copies went to Yizheng, Handan District, and Yangzhou. Simultaneously, Yizheng reviewed 100-plus previously uncontacted names, men away for work during earlier sweeps, comparing each household photo to the composite. 8 looked promising. Teams fanned out. On the morning of August 23, 2012, when officers approached suspect number 6, he bolted. After a short chase, they arrested Chen Zhouhua, born 1968, from Silun Village, Yizheng, Jiangsu. Technicians first compared his left palm print point by point, 5, then 13 matching minutiae, an almost certain hit. About 10 hours later, DNA confirmed a full match to all 4 scenes. Confronted, he admitted 4 rapes and 1 murder. His statement about the night of May 24 to 25, 2000. Coming back from Yangzhou with co-workers, he peeled off alone. Passing Hedong village, he remembered Zhu Hong, pretty, husband away. He had spied her through the window, saw a single oil lamp, and decided to act. Lacking tools, he first broke into the neighbor's kitchen, stole smoked meat and sausages, grabbed a kitchen knife, then circled to the western storeroom of the victim's house, pried the door, and chiseled more than 10 bricks out of the old wall to crawl into the kitchen, then the living room, and finally, Zhu Hong's bedroom. When she woke and cried out, he stuffed the face towel into her mouth and held it down until she stopped resisting. She had already stopped breathing, but he assaulted the body, covered her with the quilt, and fled the way he came. He did not return home to Silun village that night, but hurried back to Yangzhou, which is why neighbors later swore he wasn't around, and why he evaded early suspect lists. He was unemployed, living by begging and petty theft. The factory scissors were merely stolen props, not a clue to his trade. In December 2013, Chen Zhouhua received the death penalty. After the verdict, KZ Cheng went to his wife's grave, lit a small string of firecrackers, and told her the killer had finally been caught. He said he had waited 12 years for this day. Had the case remained unsolved, he would have died with his eyes unclosed. This investigation spanned 12 years, from mass left palm sweeps to modern DNA, and finally a traditional forensic composite that narrowed the field to a man who kept slipping the net. The victims he targeted were young women alone at home or in rental rooms. The hard lesson is grim but clear. Even in familiar places, basic physical security matters, especially for those living alone.